Unrestricted. It is the official podcast of All Elite Wrestling. I am referee Aubrey Edwards. He is Will Washington. But together on this podcast, our powers combine and we become amazing podcast best friends, co-hosts. I don't know what we need like a faction name, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was hoping this like created Captain Planet, but I guess not.
Can I be Heart?
Yes, you would be absolutely. But folks, don't forget that AEW Unrestricted is presented by Upper Deck, and you can collect your favorite wrestlers in 2025 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. Unwrap autographed memorabilia or premium tech inserts. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. I've got my pack here. Yep,
we got a whole
same
new box.
ones.
Yep. Perfect.
And as you unwrap, look at this.
We're gonna do a little ASMR here.
Yeah.
Cool. What do you got? I'm still.
I got hologram.
Yeah, look at that. Oh man, I love hologram. Such a nice dude.
So great.
Man of few words, but all of those words are meaningful. Ooh, first one I got was a Darby Allin. Recently, just came back at Texas All In. I like he's holding the flamethrower from Double or Nothing. One of my favorite moments in AEW history.
Well, speaking of people who returned at the old All In, Adam Copeland.
Yeah. Oh man, All In was so great. Oh, this one's great. I got a Upper Deck canvas card. It's Swerve Strickland holding a pair of scissors.
Oh.
So, since we're talking about All In, and obviously we had spoilers, we had an amazing ending, like storybook ending with Hangman. But yeah, it's kind of hard to think of Swerve Strickland and not think of Hangman and their amazing feud that they had. But
yep,
all of this stuff. Oh, who else you got?
I got Justin Roberts.
Ooh, look at that.
I think that's the first Justin Roberts I've come across.
Really? Oh man,
yeah.
I've gotten a couple and I've given them all to my mom because my mom's a very big Justin Roberts fan. I got a fancy one with me. Look at that.
Whoa, look at that.
I'm so shiny. Look at that. Ooh.
I gotta hunt one of those down now.
Right? It says Pyro. I think that's what this one is called. Anyway, it's really cool to have like all these cards and whatnot. Like we've got just amazing merchandise for all of our AEW talent. So if there's someone that you really appreciate on screen and you want to see them more, one of the things that you can do, because people always ask, you can talk about them online, you can buy their merchandise. We kind of care about that stuff. But one of the things that I'm really excited about to talk today is just sort of a little behind the scenes of how our merchandise works, and specifically how sort of the art of AEW goes from that online fandom into actual shirts you can wear on your torso. So Will, who is our guest today?
Joining us today on AEW Unrestricted is a guest I'm really excited to have here because she's been kind of a member of the fan community for so long, and then over time she got to be a part of the AEW family, and so she's kind of well known among fans and talent and backstage people alike, and everybody adores her. She's the greatest. She is the one and only Melanie Coleman. Mel, thank you for being here on Unrestricted.
Hi.
Were you not adjusted to having like an introduction like that?
No, but this is awesome. If I could have this for the rest of my life, that'd be great.
Just need to record it, and then anytime you enter a room, just play it like entrance music, and it's like, I'm here.
Hey guys.
Hello. Here I am.
Let's talk about how you became known in the community. Like, you're of course known for your art. And let's start with your art background and kind of how all of that became known. Give us your story.
So I am all self-taught. I didn't go to school. I just kind of grew up with the love of comic books and watching like those Saturday morning cartoons, like Spider-Man at the time, X-Men and all that. But I have 3 brothers, so I'm grateful for them to kind of curve me into the right direction of fandom. And it kind of just grew from there of my my interest and love for art and creating, and I just kind of got involved with that. And it just became that thing where like I grew up as a loner, so I didn't really have too many friends. I had my one best friend, and I would just draw. That's all I would do. And, where other people would go out and play, I would just be in my parents' room on the floor, just like doodling around. So that kind of just became that. And from then on, it just carried out to be more of a career aspiration, hopefully, or hopeful as I was so little. And I kind of grew from there and did some comic work for a little bit. But my love has always been, in wrestling. And when I didn't turn out to be a wrestler, I said, hey, the next best thing is to draw them. That's what I ended up doing. And it's great.
It is great. For those that maybe aren't as online as others, I think the first real focus of your art on television was all of the art pieces that came to be in the Don Callis family. There was that very famous one of like Kenny dying over Don that was like based on the classical piece.
Yeah.
And it was just absolutely hilarious. And at one point I see it printed backstage on like one of the stagehand trucks. And then all of a sudden it's on TV. So how did your involvement with the Don Callis family and creating art for Don start?
It kind of just happened by chance. When Don had betrayed Kenny in the way that he did, at night, I was like, oh man, I really want to capture this moment. And at the time, I wasn't doing anything for AEW or Pro Wrestling Tees. It was just like me putting it out there as I was with the community. And I was like, I think people are really going to dig this. So I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to draw this or paint this and see how it goes. And it just got traction. And somehow it landed into Don's lap. And he's like, hey, kid.
That sounds exactly right. That's exactly how a Don conversation
It was awesome. He's like, do you mind if we use this for something? He didn't say what it was going to be used for. I honestly thought it was just going to be in the background somewhere, doing whatever, but it just ended up being so much bigger than that. And it just kind of happened. And it was great. It was a wonderful, totally wonderful to see, and the fan reaction as well. I mean, Jesus Christ. Speaking of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Right.
Good segue.
I feel like, again, because I became familiar with you years ago because of, a lot of your artwork and a lot of your AEW artwork. And you talked about, the Don one blowing up, but like you had a ton that kind of got traction just within the community. Like what are some of the first pieces of wrestling artwork you remember kind of taking off within the fan community?
I kind of feel like, so I started doing, I think it was just like little head portraits.
Yeah.
And I would occasionally tag the talent. I didn't want to bug them too much about it, like, because I knew people were going to start tagging them. So I was like, I'm just going to let them do that thing that the fans do so great, and I'm so grateful for that. It's why I'm here right now. And so I recall doing little head portraits, and then I started doing a what if series. So I would swap talents. I wouldn't say gimmick, but their personas with other people, and people really seem to enjoy that as well. And it kind of just carried on from there. I just always wanted to make something fun and interesting for the community, and to see things that were a little bit differently, because anything involved with merchandise or anything artistically has always been like, it's a promo shot of the talent, and then you put it on something, and so you never get to see anything very creative with art, and I just want to do something different, something cool and just fun, something that you wouldn't necessarily see with wrestling too much. And I know a lot of the time they used to do illustrations for wrestling. I kind of just want to bring that back. It's a very nostalgic thing for me, so it's just nice to kind of put those two together.
I think it's a good fit just because I know while AEW is sort of a very modern take on wrestling, there's a lot of things that have worked in the past that we sort of incorporate into the current product and whatnot. And like, it was funny just going back to the original Don Callis family painting. There started to become more and more and more. And then, as you alluded to, there was the Last Supper with all of the people in the Don Callis family. Just seemed to keep growing over time. Like Will was added, and then Sammy was added, and all of these various different things. How did it grow? Basically, because obviously, like, there's one painting, and all of a sudden, it seems seemingly like there's millions.
I mean, it kind of just happens. Don is a productive man, and he likes to get things done precisely. And he would just kind of hit me up and be like, "Hey, we need this by next week." It's like, oh, okay. But he's as dastardly as he is, he's been very good to me. And I'm very grateful for that. He just, there's no rhyme or reason with Don. He's his own thing, and there's always something brewing with him. And I just happen to be his artistic hand instead of the invisible hand. And it kind of happened that way. So maybe more in the future. Well, maybe. We'll see.
Well, I want to talk about the fact that it, obviously, as after Dawn, you kind of started to become a member of the AEW family. Started seeing you kind of backstage all the time, and then as time went on, you are now making products for Pro Wrestling Tees, and we'll get to all of that in a second. But let's talk a little bit about how that evolved and how you kind of got to be known within AEW itself.
Yeah, I think it's just been the persistence of creating and putting it out online and being engaging with the fans and the talent. And I've been very grateful, lucky and fortunate to have a rapport with a lot of the talent and such as yourselves. And it's all just been the online support. And I think a lot of people with word of mouth were like, hey, you got to get her. I can't tell you countless times where I felt so horrifically bad for the people being tagged, Tony involved as well. You got to hire her. And I'm like, yes, please, but don't bother them too much. I love them.
Oh, no, I fully get that. As somebody who, nothing makes me more nervous, and I'm putting this out there now, than when people tag Tony on something that I've posted or whatever, and I'm just like, he's online enough to where I can almost guarantee he's already seen this. I don't, it doesn't help when you continually tag.
The anxiety, dude.
Right, they just increases my anxiety over things like, oh my God. So I get that. I fully get that feeling of, oh my God, stop pushing this because you might make this worse. And I fully get the intention. I fully get the intention and what you're trying to go for. But yeah,
I love them for it. I love you guys for it. But it was always bad, and I think it was just I think just traction and hopefully the audience that I've built around it. I think without that, it just kind of wouldn't work. Maybe, I don't know. I'd hate to say that my efforts have nothing to do with it, because it is a large part of it. But having people involved and reacting, I think, is so important, and to get the community involved. And I think that's all that matters, really. And it kind of goes to show you that if you kind of stay persistent and put the effort in and do what it is that needs to get done, you can get places. It just takes some time.
It's just that one spark. It's whatever's going to happen. You never know when the opportunity is going to come around. But if you're prepared and you've got the content and someone says, hey, kid, and then you just happen to be ready, right?
Absolutely. Always be ready, because you just never know what's going to happen. And I think that's
exactly
what the most important thing is make sure you have your ducks in a row. And at the same time, it's not that hard to do. It's just the creative outlet of trying to keep up with what's different and what can I do that stands out in this little pond that we're in, because it's such a niche market as well for wrestling art and wrestling artists. So I'm always trying my best to keep things fresh or keep things fun. And so I do my best. It all just comes down to, I think, being able to connect with the audience that I have and connect with the talent as well, because I never want to do something to besmirch them. I don't want to be known as the Jezebel, ruin their everything.
This is such a great conversation, and we're going to pick this up right after the break. But we've got more right here on AEW Unrestricted with Mel Coleman. Stay tuned after this.
AEW Unrestricted. We've got Aubrey, we've got Will, and we're talking to artist Mel Coleman about all of the incredible things she's done for AEW and the things she's doing now, going from, online making fan art to becoming a part of the AEW family and making things that you can actually buy on shopaew.com. So speaking of which, You obviously have a very expansive art style, because going from like very classical style paintings to going towards stuff that's more of a graphic design that's meant for t-shirt and mass production, was that a difficult transition for you, or is that something you've just always been sort of good at?
Thanks. I think I've always been keen on having different styles because it offers you such an expansive opportunity. So I never like to just focus on one style. The style that I really truly love doing would be like the classic paintings and just making them completely bastardized. That is my favorite thing to do. But I mean, it's all great. And I find the ability to adapt to different styles very creatively. It kind of gives me a little bit more room for avoiding creative block or art block because I could just jump into something else. So I'm very fortunate with that.
So again, you talked about kind of bastardizing those art styles, and that point kind of really intrigues me because do you find yourself like studying pieces of art before you jump into doing the kind of, I don't want to say parody, but I guess that's like the right word for it, right?
A nice homage.
Homage. There we go.
We'll go with an homage. Yeah, no, I love going to museums and any kind of Renaissance art is totally my thing. So it's anytime I get a chance to really, especially with a moment like the whole Don and Kenny, that calls for something huge and something different that you've never seen. And it kind of makes sense to me. Like back then, like this is like what they would paint. Like it would be a moment or something too that tells a story, a significant event or something like that. So anytime that something happens on AEW, and I'm on the couch and I'm like, ooh, like I could do this. So it's a matter of like, okay, well, what's the story behind it, and what kind of inspiration can I find from that? So I'll go onto Google and look through painters that I love, and or styles that I love that intrigue me. And it's usually like the dark, moody stuff, just to help kind of encapsulate the emotion and the intrigue of what just happened. So I'm constantly looking online to see what kind of draws inspiration for me, tutorials constantly just to make sure that I can keep up with whatever's happening, and just to be better. Like, because if you're not getting better, then what are we doing here? Always be better.
Yes, I think that's just like a general like good advice regardless of industry you're in. Like you should just always be striving to be better and always be striving to improving.
Absolutely.
So all of this talk of going from classical to merch and all these sort of things has brought me to realize like I don't actually know the timeline. Like when did you actually like become an AEW employee, and like how does that conversation actually happen?
So it's such a weird thing. Like I always feel like it's a member at large thing. And I think I've said this to a few people where I'm like, not really with AEW, but kind of with AEW.
Right.
Keys. And it happened out of nowhere. It was last year, January 2024. And Chrissy had messaged me or emailed me, and she's like,
love Chrissy.
Hey, I love her. Hi, Chrissy.
She's actually the person I messaged to get your email so that I could. Yeah. Well, I messaged a couple people like, hey, are we cool with this? And she's like, she'll be great. I'm like, awesome.
I love her so much.
She's the best.
But no, she had me email. She's like, hey, do you think you could come up with a Willow piece? And I was like, yeah, I could do that. That's not a problem. And it was the unicorn Willow, and she's like in her gladiator outfit, just like riding into the universe. And from then on, it was just like, hey, this is Ryan from Pro Wrestling Tees. And I was like, ooh, this is happening. And it kind of just happened from there. So it was last year. So I made my full year and a half now. And it's just been the best thing to ever happen to me. I love it so much.
Well, let's talk about the kind of the wider timeline in that, again, I remember kind of starting to see your art, I want to say pandemic-ish is like when I'm remembering it the most. Okay. So when did, for you, doing pro wrestling art really begin?
So it happened with the COVID era because I had lost my job. I was working as a manager at a salon and spa. And COVID happened and Canada shut down. There was no doing anything. And it was depressing, and I was not in a great place mentally, physically, emotionally. And I just needed that spark of something to happen. And AEW kind of was getting its rounds like, oh, wrestling's great. Wrestling's fun. Why am I not watching wrestling anymore? And started watching wrestling and or AEW. And I was like, man, these guys are pretty cool. Like they seem like my kind of crowd where you can feel invested and it's different. It just felt more inclusive. And just a part, even if you're as an audience during the pandemic, by the way, it was just cool. It was like, oh man, it's Wednesday. I'm gonna be with my buds because these are the people that I need. And from then on, I was like, man, I kind of want to get back into art because these cats are cool. I want to see if I could do something with this, and reignited my spark with my love with art and creating. And I was like, no one's really doing too much wrestling art that I know of. I'm like, I know that people were doing it. There were a few artists online that I was kind of starting to connect with. And I was like, yeah, I think I want to do this because I've loved wrestling all my life and I love art. So this is a no-brainer for me. So it was during the pandemic era, I just started doing little headshots and little things. And people, I think it's almost a blessing in disguise, as difficult as the pandemic was for so many people. It really kind of, to bring the good out of it, it really brought a lot of people together. And I was so fortunate to be involved in that and to be growing within the community, like the internet community or the wrestling. Man, it can be wild out there, but
oh, brother,
it's like anything in life. But yeah, I'm so grateful for that because I started to connect with so many great friends and meet new people, even though it was online. And through that, now meeting them face to face, which has just been wonderful.
It's so great, so great. It's awesome that you mentioned the timeline you did, because you mentioned January 2024, and I think that's when we had you on Heels,
Yeah.
which was absolutely incredible. Like we're doing a sort of creative endeavor focused virtual event, and we had Swerve on,
Yeah.
and then also seeing like Mel Coleman talks about her art on the same graphic.
I'm like, who am I?
Right?
Nobody.
It's like, yeah, we just do a 30-minute Q&A with Swerve. And then also there's this Mel girl. What was that like for you? Because I know that we've kind of talked about in the past, and like it's a really good community and it's great. It means a lot to both of us. So what was it like going from being sort of a Heels member to being someone who was featured on a virtual session?
The coolest thing ever, man, because Heels is something so special. The amount of support, like even meeting them, like when you're at a show and the little table there, it blows my mind how warm and welcoming these people are. These women are just incredible, and there's nothing that you can say or do that it will turn them off with. Like they just like, yeah, let's go, let's do this, and it's awesome. And God, they're so supportive and they're so interesting and so caring, and just being able to be comfortable in my own space with them because it's hard. I'm sure it's probably not coming across, but I'm very shy for the most part. Or I'll hide it.
It's not coming across at all. So I'm glad you said that.
That's good. I'm comfortable.
It took me a minute to figure that out about you as like getting to know you personally, and it's like, oh, okay, Mel's in her shell at the moment, and yeah, she'll come out once you like get her going, but it's gonna take a moment.
If I'm comfortable with the people, I'm perfectly okay. And it's more of an insecurity of mine. It's like, oh man, what if like people like don't like me because I'm kind of weird.
We're all kind of weird. We work in wrestling. Like that's the constant thing to remember. Is it's like you kind of have to be weird to make it here.
And that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. So it's when Heels happened, I got the chance just to hang out and talk. And growing up, I didn't have a lot of girlfriends. Like I had like zero girlfriends.
Same
For the most part. So it's just nice to be in a community that likes the same stuff that I do, because a lot of girls did not grow up watching wrestling, especially where I was. So I had nothing to connect with other girls. So this was so cool, and they got everything. They were interested in it, and they rooted for you, which is really nice. And I still get like all of the messages and stuff from Heels members going, "Oh my God, it's like your art's over here," or he's wearing your shirts, where's wearing your shirt. It's just cool. It's very blessed to be a part of this, and to have it kind of happen in a time in my life where like so much chaos was happening, and then like I'm like, oh, this is so good. I belong.
So cool. Right.
Yeah, it's cool.
We're going to take one more break here. And when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about the shop experience and creating some of the merch you've gotten to create. And that's all going to be right here when AEW Unrestricted continues. AEW Unrestricted. It's Will Washington and Aubrey Edwards. I am not used to saying our names in that order. It's Aubrey and Will on this show, but I figure for once I should like put my name first because I'm like the one saying it. Yes, but more importantly than us, we've got our guest, Mel Coleman, artist extraordinaire, and we were talking about her experience with AEW and being a part of Pro Wrestling Tees, and now this is you've made a life out of this. You made a career out of this. Yeah. And getting to make the merch. I want to talk about one specific piece of merch, and we'll kind of work our way around, because I'm going to be honest here. This is a very true story. A couple of weeks ago, we were, discussing guests for future AEW Unrestricted episodes, and I had literally just scrolled across the Kazuchika Okada t-shirt with just his face and the word bitch. And I thought, oh, Mel, we can have Mel Coleman on the show. But
not Okada, Mel.
Yeah. Well, because of course, knowing that was your art, and it popped me so much. Like, that is one of those shirts that I would absolutely wear just so somebody asks me questions about it. And so let's talk about this one. How did this come together?
So I'm weird. I was actually I was in Chicago with Chrissy, and we were just hanging out, and I was like, oh man, it'd be kind of fun to do Okada like the Cheshire Cat, just like smiling and its eyes and just bitch. Because he's always grinning and he's got that face. So I'm like, that's a face you just kind of like either want to punch or laugh with. Like it just, there's so much to it. He doesn't do a lot, but when he does it, it is a lot. And I was like, man, that would make a great image. And Chris is like, yeah, just do it. Okada walked by, and Chris is like, hey, Okada, come here. You know how Chrissy is, right?
Yes.
What do you think of the shirt like this? And he's the best. He's just like, yeah. So sure enough, got back, and I was like doodling around, and I wanted to make it as graphic and as clean as possible. So like it's just kind of what was it? What is the image that I'm thinking of? But like Vote Pedro, remember the political kind of stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
I want something very clean, very like just the second you got it, you're like, ha. And he's got such a perfect face. So doing the artwork was as simple as it looks. It's very hard because you have to get all the features right, and like one little brush stroke with something on a feature, it's just not going to look like him. So it took some time to make it as clean, as seamless as possible, and simple. And had the word bitch, and I was like, something like, it was just the font at that point. And I was like, I'm like, okay, it looks all right. And then, little birdie was like, it would be great. Maybe having the pose as whatever it is. I was like, yeah. So put the pose in there. I'm like, this is it. This is the shirt. And sent it off.
There you go.
The shirt so much.
So speaking of shirts, what's sort of the process like? Like, how do you get the requests? How long does it sort of take for a particular shirt on average? What's the submission process like? Like, give us a little insight into how that works.
So I guess it's always going to be different for every artist, I think. Dave, who is the art director that I work alongside with a lot of the time, he is so great. I love Dave so much, and he's so patient and so supportive of all of us that work with him. And it kind of just comes with, we've got this set list of talent. Can you come up with something? What do we want to come up with? And I try to do my best, much like when I was doing the artwork before, like this all happened. I wanted to keep it fresh and different from everything kind of happening. So I feel so terribly about it too. I'll be like, Dave, what if we do this? Or Chrissy, what if we do this? Like, can we do this style? Can we do that style? What do you think about like, what was it at the time? I'm like, stickers, let's do stickers, but like comic style and make it fun. And it kind of just works out that way. So it is an engaging kind of synergy that we have. I'm like, I'll ask Dave, is it possible to do like a comic style line of shirts, just a little bit more graphic and a little bit more different, people that don't really see that. And he was like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. So we started doing that. And at first it was just with the female talent. Because I love working with the female talent so much, and it's always my goal or a goal of mine to do as much as possible for the female talent. Just got to support my girls, and so it's kind of just a back and forth of like, who is it that we're looking for at this time? Like, for the most part, unless I have a specific idea for somebody, I get a list, and then that's what I work off on. But there's always that time where I love doing prints so very much because it allows me to do a little bit more than I'm able to with shirts, because there are restrictions with that, of course. So getting to do prints is something that I love very much, and I could be a little bit more whimsical with in terms of the ability to have like effects or like an ambience for the painting or a print versus having something on a shirt. So that's always fun to do. But yeah, it's always a back and forth and sharing of ideas that help. And then I'm able, and they allow me to do certain things, which I'm really happy with.
Well, talk about the new graphic series that's been dropping recently with Bryan Danielson's Running Knee Strike and Darby Allin the skateboard.
Yeah, it's just something fun. Again, it goes back to my comic roots of like trying to wrestling to me is no different than movies and superheroes, and like, why not do something very similar to that? And I kind of wanted to combine the both of having something very comic style and something that people are familiar with. And I think having that, especially with the explosion of like, I don't know how long this has been going on, of 20 years now with Marvel movies and DC movies. So people are aware and they're familiar with that. So if someone was to wear a Bryan Danielson shirt out in the wild and they're like, oh, I don't know wrestling, but what is that? Is that a comic book? And then that kind of maybe hopefully engages a new audience or something, or an involvement with it. So I kind of try to do my best to keep in mind other potential audience that might come in, because it's no different. Like, they're all superheroes. They're in little tights and they're doing their thing.
Significantly less buildings broken, but still superheroes.
I mean, depends if it's Mox.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. It's no human or structure is safe if Mox is around. So who knows? I'm kind of curious, is there any sort of piece that you've done, whether it's a shirt or a print or whatever, that has gotten more traction than maybe you thought it would get in the first place?
It always varies. Like, I'm always very curious about the analytics of like what I'm putting out, because that's another thing too. I'm like, I have to do my own marketing and all that. So I'm always very curious to see like who's more interested in what. And I feel like the paintings always do very well because of, again, the extravagance of it all. But I found that lately some of the graphic stuff, like the comic style series that I've been doing, has been like, oh, this is new, this is different. So I'm very happy about that. I'm curious to see if it's just something that might continue to go forward, or if I just put it down to bed for a little bit and bring it back up, because I want to make sure that it doesn't get stagnant. And that's always my concern of like, oh, it's the same thing, and I don't want to keep doing the same thing. Maybe bring it back, but just like wrestling, like you got to keep your audience engaged and involved. And like, if you keep doing the same thing, not that there's anything wrong with it, but you just want to keep things fresh. So for me, I feel like it's anytime I change the style, people are like, oh, what is this? Oh, this isn't your piece. I always get that all the time. I didn't know this was your piece. It's like, yeah, man, it's me. So I'm trying my best. It does change a lot. There's never one specific piece or style that changes an algorithm. It's more of a shift or a very organic shift of like, oh, this is new, different. This is so cool. So hopefully that continues. We'll see.
Well, what's on the other side of it? What's some of the feedback been like from the talent?
I'm so happy that it kind of works out. It's always like, because I got to do something for Ty, and Ty coming back for the first time in a very long time, and it was so great, and it was so lovely being able to chat with her on like what she wanted in terms of a design. And she was so gracious and just, this is what I'm looking for. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I'm doing a new style. Is this something you're interested in? And I know that I do my best to be mindful of like who they are as a human being and then who they are character wise, and kind of appease both. And I know that they're into like video games and Dragon Ball and all that kind of stuff. So I always do my best to have a little bit of them in their whatever I'm designing. And she was just the sweetest to work with, very kind. And when I did the first Tay Melo shirt, she's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I got a little picture of her wearing her shirt. It was just the sweetest. Yeah, it was really cool. So anytime I'm able to uplift the talent, just like the small little part or piece that I'm doing, just means the world to me, because I want to make sure that they feel seen. And this isn't just something that I'm doing just because, like, I genuinely love this very much. And I love the people behind the scenes, on the scenes. Like, there's such a genuine appreciation that I have for this company and the people in it. And I'm not trying to sound like a mark or anything like that. I've genuinely built relationships that are just, I would never trade them for anything. Mm-hmm. So anytime I get to do something, a piece of artwork for them, I'm always like, oh God, I hope they really like it, because I just want them to be happy with it and be proud. Like, this is something that like you can wear maybe or have in your house maybe and be happy with it. Like, it does come with love all the time. Every piece that I do there's a lot of thought that goes into it, and I hope that they know that.
I think they do, because anytime I see a Mel Coleman design on a shirt, you see the eyes light up in the locker room, and like the Willow unicorn one, like I think she just put it on immediately. And it was one of those things where it was like, when art speaks to life, it's so perfect. And I think you've done an excellent job of that, capturing the personas, the person behind it, the moments that are happening, the memories that people have of wrestling. And you're just an incredible asset to this company, and I'm so proud of all the work that you've done.
Thank you so much. Don't make me cry.
Okay, we'll end it before she cries. So thank you to Mel Coleman. If you're not already following her, you can follow her on Twitter and Instagram, Mel Coleman Art. As a reminder, AEW Unrestricted is sponsored in part by Upper Deck. You can collect your favorite wrestlers in the 2025 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. Unwrap autograph memorabilia, premium tech inserts. You can visit upperdeck.com to learn more. You can listen to and follow this podcast, AEW Unrestricted, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and check out the video version on our YouTube channel, where you can see all of these awesome pieces that we've been talking about. Just search AEW Unrestricted, hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And are you an AEW insider? You can get early access to ticket pre-sales, special merchandise offers, and more straight to your inbox. Sign up today, AEWTIX.com. And don't forget, AEW Dynamite on TBS Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. and streaming on HBO Max. AEW Collision live every Saturday on TNT. ROH streams every Thursday on Honor Club. I'm Aubrey Edwards. He's Will Washington. That's Mel Coleman. Thank you so much for listening. Peace out.
Peace.